Yeah, Sam, centre back, Sam. Okay. Yeah. So, and then Matt was on the second ball. Matt was on. Matt's the first thing. Well, lads, Shawnee, how are you? Those things. Yeah. Did you? Did you bring the DNA test? I know, but yeah, but it's still not fair to do it to people. I know, yeah. And he only has 3 kids, so you have to bring him to another one. 3? 4, actually. Tom Shanahan is there. Gary 7. What? Right. Huh? We're about 5 minutes from throw in here. I'll go through the 2 teams. Both are out on the field. So starting the team for Ballina is as it was in the North final. You have James Power in goals, Keane Cummins, cornerback, number 3 Josh Egan, and number 4 is David Coughlin. Number 5 you have number 5 is Mark Lyons, number 6 is Sam Loughran, and number 7 is Shane Kelly. Midfield is number 8 Darragh King and number 9 Jack Collins. Number 10 is Keane Donnelly, 11 is Matthew Power, 12 is Daniel Tighe, and you have Charlie King in the corner, 13. You have Captain David Grace, number 14, and you have Keane O'Donnell, number 15. The Cashel Cormacs team is in goals Andrew Irwin, number 2 Fabian Ryan, number 3 Callum Lawrenson, number 4 Owen Murphy, number 5 Oisín Dwan, number 6 Conor Dwyer, number 7 Pádraig Brosnan, number 8 of Cathal Quinn, and number 9 Ronan Connolly. Wing forward is James O'Sullivan, centre forward is Daniel Maloney, and number 12 is David Clark. Inside you have 13 Ross Whelan, 14 David McGrath, and 15 Jack McGrath. So seems to be a small bit of a breeze blowing slightly towards the scoreboard end. Not sure who's reffing it today. Do you know who the ref is?
Everett.
Probably from Timbuktu, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have the 2 number 6s were 2 cornerbacks last year for the Tip Miners. Ballina beat Ross Gray in Borrisoleigh last weekend to win their first title in 20 years. Won by 5 points for a finish, 217 to 115. While Cashel stopped Knockavilla Kickham's from doing a 3 in a row in the West, winning 3-9 to 17 points. So obviously a goal threat for Cashel there. Wind seems to be picking up here actually. There's going to be probably a strong wind in favour of whoever's playing down towards the scoreboard end. Aaron Devan is giving out about the grass, but it's actually not too bad here. There's a bit left on top. Holycross is quite a narrow or quite a short field. There's only probably the bones of 10 yards between the 265s, so not going to be a whole pile of space out there. And to be fair to both sets of clubs, there's definitely very few non-related people in here. So it's the crowd is being observed, and it looks like Ballina are going to play against the wind. Ballina will play from the scoreboard into the roadside, and Cashel from the roadside down to the gable end, or to the gable end, to the scoreboard end. Looks like Cathal O'Donnell is wearing number 28, but that's definitely him. The ball is in, and Connolly wins the first one, and he wins a free for a loose hurley over the top. So Cashel start well. And Conor O'Dwyer will step forward. He'll be taking this bang on halfway. Pretty much central, and with a nice wind behind him, so distance should not be a bother. Conor O'Dwyer gets set. It's a good strike. It looks like it might tail wide at this side. No, it's over the bar. 30 seconds gone, and Cashel scored their first point, free from Conor O'Dwyer. James Power gets ready to puck it out. Looks like he's coming down roughly towards the middle. Cian Donnelly gets in underneath it, but looks like Ronan Connolly or Carl Quinn is winning it. He flicks it forward, lands inside in the 45. Josh Egan gets a foot across but misses it. Ball number 14, and a bit of a schmozzle here. It's a bit of pushing and shoving, but nothing too serious. Sam in against Maloney. Ball is stuck inside in the middle of 6 or 7 lads. And Mark Lyons brings it out, pops it off to Cian Donnelly. Cian looks up and he goes long. He's landed inside on top of Davy Grace and Cathal O'Donnell. Cathal tries to flick it down. Ball breaks inside, and Colm Lawrenson comes out with it and strikes a good clearance down here as far as David Clark. He gets his touch in on his left side, drills it straight down towards the full forward. Josh Egan comes out. Davy Coughlin chasing David McGrath. David McGrath is falling to the ground on his knees. He tries to rise it. Josh Egan gets back in behind it. Davy Coughlin getting a hurley on it, but David McGrath has it. Looks up, tries to spread it back out. Good ball back out to the 45. But Jack Collins gets in and intercepts. And off he goes. Under pressure from Ronan Connolly. Jack does well and strikes it down the line off the hurley into Charlie. Charlie King has great speed. There's a hand on the back. And it's a good start for Charlie King. Well done by Jack Collins. And Matt Power will come in here about 35 yards out. Fairly central. And should be a leveller. Just gone 2 minutes played. And this should bring it. Oh, Matt has gone short and it's just gone wrong. And Davy Grace just loses out to Conor Dwyer, who pops it off. And it's laid across there to Cathal Quinn. Cathal Quinn strikes it down along the stand side. Underneath it is Sam Loughran and Ross Whelan, and there's a push in the back. So it could be a 2-point swing here. And Keane Cummins pushes the ball into the Cashel player. The ref in the Everard just tells him to no need for that. So Ballina trying to go for an early goal there, create a goal chance. Ball is turned over and Jack McGrath comes down and makes it 2 points to no score. James Power is ready with the puck out, goes quick out to Josh Egan. Josh catches well, tries to step around number 10. He has his 2 catches got. Josh will make great ground, lays it off to Sam on the 45. Sam off his right side, strikes it long in top. Beats inside the corner back and Davy Grace gets out to it, but the other opposite corner wins it. And that's a third free to Ballina after giving away. Fabian Ryan winning that one. Conor Dwyer is back to take it on his own 14. As Ballina try to drop out a bit, Conor switches across to the far side under Shane Kelly. Shane Kelly just doesn't get to it. And Jack McGrath has it. Jack gets around Josh, but Josh gets a hurley in and wins it. Josh coming up to halfway, lays it off. Oh, it's a poor hand pass. And Ronan Connolly gets it, puts it back down the line to Jack McGrath. Jack steps inside, off his right hand side from 45 yards out. And that's another point for Cashel. 3 points to no score in favour of Cashel. 4 minutes gone here. Ballina a little sloppy in possession there. James Power getting ready to go along again here. Puts it down towards Keane Donnelly. Keane bit of a hurley on the back, but it's okay from Pádraig Brosnan, and Conor Dwyer gets across to pick it up and whips it back out to the stand side. Ross Whelan under pressure here from Keane Cummins. Ross does well to bring the ball with him. And he's back around it again and Ross has it again. And that's another free that he's won. So Jack McGrath will stand over this. Endeavour is just asking him to bring it back to the 45 or close to it. Shouldn't make a huge difference to him. Struck the last one from practically the same position. So Jack sets himself, lifts, strikes, and very easy strike and straight over the bar. 4 points to no score, 5 minutes gone in favour of Cashel. James Power gets ready to puck it out again. Coming down the stand side. Underneath it is Darragh King and Matt Power, but it's Conor Dwyer that wins it. Pops it off to Daniel Maloney. Daniel flicks it back over Jack Collins' head. He's back in his own 45 and sprays it out here again to Ross Whelan. Keane Cummins tries to put pressure on him. Ross lays it back out towards Jack McGrath. The touch is just a little off, or the ball was just a little high to him maybe. And Ballina get away with that. So Ballina have a line ball here, about 35 yards out from their own goal. And Sam Loughran will come across to take it.
What's number 8? Screen Jacko, screen.
So Sam getting ready to take it. Drills it low. And Cathal Quinn gets it. Cathal Quinn goes around Mark Lyons. He's inside the 45, tries to flick it over Sam. Keane Cummins gets out to it, blocks it, rises it, drops it. Cathal Quinn wins it back. Ball is laid back out here to Ronan Connolly. He just loses his foot and goes backwards again. Daniel Tighe gets a hurley in. The rushing Dewan is there as well underneath it. And it's Daniel Maloney who gets across and wins it on his own 65. And now he's starting to make tracks. He's inside as far as the 45. Daniel Tighe is closing ground. The ball is laid out. And James Sullivan has it. James Sullivan off his right hand side. He's just pulled it wide at his own side. The Cashel really on top here. 6.5 minutes gone, and it's 4 points to no score. James Power with the puck out, going long down along the stand side. Underneath it is Oisín Dewan. Cian Donnelly gets up well. Mark Lyons just beats him. Mark Lyons tracks back, gets the rise on it, and off he goes going forward. Tries to flick it on to Cian Donnelly. Cian does well to win it, stands up. He gets the strike in, it's lobbing in the top of Davy Grace and Colm Lawrenson. There's two Cashel lads and Carl O'Donnell gets in around it. Ball is broken through. Colm Lawrenson again with his second clearance of the day, and he whips it out towards James O'Sullivan's side, and Shane Kelly for Ballina gets a hurley in, does well, wins it, steps back inside him and delivers down the line, but it looks like it'll go out over the line and it'll be a line ball to Cashel. Cashel full back line is hurling well. So Ronald Connolly will step back to take this just inside his own 45. It's a good line ball and lands down across the far 65 with Daniel Maloney. Sam Loughran gets a hurley in. Shane Kelly gets back to win it, but Daniel Maloney is there again, and Shane does well to hold him off. At the ball is slow to come up, but Josh Egan wins it, and Josh is off. He's under pressure from three Cashel lads, and he wins a free. So Matt will have his first free of the day. Matt Power just right out on the sideline, about 75 yards from goals. Matt will settle himself. Ball has the legs and the goalie's looking up. That's the first score, great free from Matt Power. So that just 8 minutes gone, Ballina's first score. It's Cashel 4, Ballina 1. Andy Irwin to take the puck out here. Makes his signal with his left hand, and he's ready to go. So he puts the ball, just tops it a little, it lands around halfway, and it'll be Sam Loughran up against James O'Sullivan. Sam does well to get a block on it, and you have Davy Clark goes back and wins it and lays it off to Ronan Connolly. Mark Lyons gets a hand across him. Ronan does well, turns around, but Sam gets a block in on top of Daniel Maloney, who flicks it back off him in return, wins it, turns it over. Cian Donnelly comes back and gives the shoulder, and Daniel Maloney pops a hand pass in, and it's going to be Ross Wheat, and Cian Cummins gets a pop on it, and Josh picks it up again. Josh coming out, he has Matt Power on his shoulder. Matt has a look from a long way back, but instead he spreads it wide towards Carl O'Donnell. The ball might just tail with that wind. Carl does well to keep it in. Davy Grace goes back to after it, and it looks like a bit of a hurley around the neck. So Ballina did well, Carl O'Donnell did well to keep that in the first place. Davy Grace was alive to pick it up, and the ref is going to have a quick word with him. He was a bit overzealous maybe after he won the free. So Matt with another free tied to that sideline. So Matt on the 21, maybe 3 or 4 yards in from the sideline. Tough angle, he lifts. It's a lower strike, and the umpire goes for the white flag. So a good response from Ballina. 10 minutes gone, and it's 4-2. Andy Irwin with the puck out. He hits it out towards the corner back. He's under pressure from Charlie King. Charlie King and Fabian Reiner are tussling hard for it, but Pádraig Brosnan got back to help him out and wins the free. So Cashel are willing to go short with it. Colm Lawrenson goes across to take the free, and he goes long down his own line on top of Josh Egan and Jack McGrath. Josh gets his hand on it, but it breaks in behind, and Sam saunters back to get it. Under pressure now from Jack McGrath, but Sam goes long. It's going to break down on top of Conor Dwyer. It just runs through him and pops off Charlie. Charlie wins the break, and Charlie will have speed, but the ref has said that he was travelling. So it's a free out to Cashel, and they're looking for a few extra yards. I'm not sure if the ref gave it or not. He gave him a few yards anyway. He didn't give him 10. But Conor Dwyer will probably have the distance if he puts it in, but he goes low down along his own line towards Jack McGrath. Josh Egan is eating up ground to get out in front of him. Jack gets a hurley on it. Josh is behind him, and Everard gives another free in. So he's starting to blow for a few frees, and it's a good chance for Jack McGrath to make it 5-2. Jack lifts and strikes, and it's another good score. So Jack is 3 from 3 on the freeze. James Power with another puck out now. 12 minutes gone. It's 5 points to 2 in favour of Cashel. James coming down along the stand side again. Cashel have 4 lads back on top of Keane Donnelly. Keane gets his hand on it though with a super catch. Conor Dwyer comes across to put him under pressure. Lays it back to Mark Lyons. Mark Lyons with a great strike. And a super score from Mark Lyons, a wing back. Great catch by Keane Donnelly. Andy Irwin now in goals here as the hurley up. Andy Irwin coming down along the stand side. It's drifting in towards the middle. Sam Loughran and Daniel Maloney, and the ball breaks in behind. Davy Clark will get back towards it, but Sam gets the body over it, and a bit of a loose pull down by Davy Clark, and it's all the way back in his own 45. Matt Power will go back to hit it. It'll be a long way. Great striker of the ball is Matt, but there's a stiff breeze against him. But it's no bother to Matt, he has the distance. The ref. That's a super score from Matt Power, just on his own 45 into a bit of a breeze. And straight over the bar. 5 points to 4, 13 minutes gone. Andrew Irwin now with the puck out again, looking for a bit of movement. And he lands it down on top of Mark Lyons and Davy Clark. Daniel Maloney's coming in behind, but Davy Clark gets a hurley on it, and it lands in around the 14. Keane Cummins in a race of Ross Whelan. Keane gets a hurley on it. Davy Coughlin comes to support him. The ball is broken on the ground, and Ross takes a heavy enough shoulder from Sam. Hard to get a close view on that, but the ref has said it's a free in, and it'll be a tough free for Jack McGrath, but he is 3 from 3, so well within his. Well, he's 4 from 4 even, so I'm 1 behind already. Jack is in no hurry to take this. Ballina have gone on a bit of a run, so could be a bit of a chance just for Cashel to reset. So Jack McGrath lifts. It's another good connection, and there's no question about it. So it's 6 points to 4 in favour of Cashel, coming up towards the first water break. James Power goes down towards the stand side. Davy Clark gets back after it and gets a good hand in it, drives forward, takes a touch on the hurley, tries to strike it in, but Matt Power gets a hook in. Keane gets a little flick in, then wins it, takes a shoulder off 1 or 2 lads, and wins a similar enough free to what Ross Whelan had just won before. So Ballina would be counted themselves probably a little lucky to win that free, but Keane Donnelly with showing great work as always. Matt now just on his own, or the far 65, about 10 yards in from the sideline. It's a good strike again, and they're all looking up. 6 points to 5, and it's just 15 minutes gone. Andy Irwin gets ready to take another puck out, having a look around to see who wants it. Looks like he's going to go long though, and he goes long down the far side. Underneath it is Shane Kelly, and Shane Kelly gets a hurley on it, and Daniel Tighe wins it. Daniel off he goes on his bike, making tracks down through the middle. He's on the 65, looks up, puts in a low ball to Charlie King. Shane Kelly's on the outside. Charlie does well with a great touch, lays it back out to Daniel Tighe. Great touch from Daniel. The strike isn't great, and it just rolls wide. Great work from Daniel Tighe to bring that from his own 65. Andy Irwin gets ready to take the puck out again, and Andrew puts it across to Fabian Ryan, just goes over him, but Pádraig Brosnan will do well to win it on his left side, strikes it down towards Daniel Maloney. Sam stands off him, but Daniel gets a touch on it, brings it down for himself. Sam charges in, wins the flick, wins it on his knees, pops it off to Matt, who's back working hard, who lays it out to Mark Lyons. Mark Lyons does well, standing on his own 65. Mark has another shot, and it's just tailed wide. So Mark, confidence up after the first one, and a good effort there, but it drifts wide. So in the river just blows it up for the first water break. There's 16 minutes gone. It's 6 points to 5 in favour of Cashel, and we'll restart with the Cashel puck out. So I make it that Cashel have 5 free scored from Jack McGrath, and Ballina have, I would say, 3 frees from Matt Power, and a point from Mark Lyons. Maybe Matt has 4 frees. I'll try to get the breakdown there.
I was thinking they definitely had one from play. Holycross is a very uneven field, isn't it? When you stand back and look at it, yeah, just in the middle.
In the Everard isn't waiting around here. We're just gone a minute and 20 seconds into that water break, and he's calling them back out. Like we said, it'll be a Cashel restart from a puck out, and it's okay. Okay, Sars have taken a command and lead in the other one. Cashel pushed them all the way in the county semi-final 2 years ago under 16. While Thurles won fairly handy against Ballina for a finish. But we're going to restart here. There's roughly 2 minutes of a water break. 6 points to 5 in favour of Cashel. Cashel have 4 frees from Jack McGrath and 1 from play, along with a long range free from Conor Dwyer, while Matt Power has 4 frees for Ballina and Mark Lyons has 1 from play. So Andy Warren gets ready to take the puck out, and he goes long towards the open side. Sam Loughran's underneath it with Daniel Maloney. Daniel gets a flick on it, breaks inside to James O'Sullivan, but he's tracked by Shane Kelly. James turns back, gets a good strike off, but it's gone wide at this side. Shane Kelly is happy with that. James Sullivan and Daniel Maloney worked well there to create the chance, and the ball just drifted wide from a difficult angle. So James Power gets ready to restart. James looking for a few options, and he goes with a lower trajectory, but it's going to be down. Daniel Tighe does well to get a hand on it, but it breaks to Ronald Connolly, who tries to flick it to Daniel Maloney, who does well in his own 65. Daniel Maloney with a strike off his left, but it's gone wide. So James Power gets ready to go again, and he's going out the stand side here towards Keane Donnelly. It's drifting in on top of Cathal Quinn, all on his own, snaps it. Matt Keane didn't get up to it. Cathal drives a low ball in, and it's David McGrath has it this time as he makes tracks. Davy Coughlin does well to get back, but off his left side, David McGrath with a good strike, and it's a point. So the first point after the water break, and it goes to Cashel. 7 points to 5 in favour of Cashel. 19 and a half minutes gone. So James Power gets ready to take the puck out again. Keane Donnelly making tracks to the far side. James goes longer down towards Darragh King, who's in top of Conor Dwyer, breaks in behind. Conor does well to win it under pressure from Keane, and it's a handy free for Conor Dwyer to win. Darragh King stands in front, and Conor delivers it down low towards David McGrath again. Davy Coughlin gets a hurley in, Davy wins it, and Daniel Maloney is making great tracks through the middle, and it's another free in the Everard is given plenty of frees both ways, but it's fairly stop-start.
Keep it up here now, come on.
So Jack McGrath has to go across to the far side now to take another free. He had one over on this side, and it was no problem to him. So a chance for Cashel to go 3 points up again. It's another good strike. Umpires are looking up, but it's just tailed wide at this side, so Ballina get away with that. James Power is ready to take the puck out again. Goes down towards the stand side, and Darragh King will try to get underneath with Cathal Quinn, who does well. It breaks to Mark Lyons, who wins it. Mark tries to switch it across. Keane Donnelly gets a good touch on it, but Conor Dwyer will get back. Gets his hurley down on it. Ball is broken in around Davy Grace. Conor Dwyer is still there. Conor is bringing it with him. Strong over the ball. Charlie King gets in there with him as well. And it's hard to know what way the ref has blown a free, and he hasn't pointed, but Cashel are moving out, and it looks like it was for a touch on the ground, and Conor Dwyer will step back to his own 21 to take this. He goes down towards the stand side towards Daniel Maloney. Sam Loughran underneath it, gets a hurley down. Davy Clark wins the break. Mark Lyons get back after him and there's a loose chop, and every 20 or so seconds we seem to have a free one way or the other, so Sam Loughran will take this. Sam goes tries to put it out into the corner towards Charlie King and Carl O'Donnell. Fabian Ryan tries to get a hurley on it. And another free in. Carl O'Donnell does well to get out ahead of his man there. And it was Owen Murphy who was penalised that time. So Matt Power now with a chance to get Ballina's first score after the water break. Another scoreable free. Looks like Darragh King is going in corner forward or full forward, and Carl O'Donnell is coming out. Matt has put that one over the bar, and it's 7 points to 6. So Darragh King and Matt Power are now inside in the full forward line. Andy Irwin goes down the middle towards Daniel Maloney. It'll just beat him, and Sam Loughlin does well to read it, steps out, takes a challenge from Ronan Connolly and tries to roll it into Davy Grace. Davy Grace under pressure from Conor Dwyer, breaks back to Sam, who does well to shield the ball off his left side, lobs it in high. Charlie is making great track. Andy Irwin comes out for it, does well. Charlie has him under pressure, lays it off to Pádraig Brosnan, who's under pressure again from Charlie King. Charlie's getting no support from the lads around him, but he does well to get a hook on it. Cian Donnelly gets back. Shane Kelly wins the break, pops it off to Carl O'Donnell. Cahill off his right hand side, gets great air in it. Andy is looking up, but it's tail and wide, caught in the wind. So Cahill seems to be gone out. Midfield with Jack Collins now, with Darragh inside full forward, corner forward even, and Matt Power in full. So Andrew Irwin with the puck out, comes down the stand side. It's a high ball. Mark Lyons is under it with Davy Clark, gets a hurley on it. And you've Ushing Dewan under pressure from Mark Lyons. He's bringing it forward with his foot. Davy Grace tries to get inside, but Conor Dwyer dives back after it, wins it on his knees, brings it out towards the sand and gets a great clearance off down the line. It's between Davy Coughlin and Davy McGrath. Davy McGrath wins the break here, just gets it into his hand, steps inside 2 or 3 times, takes a shoulder, but Endeavour charges him for over carrying. So a good turnover by Ballina there, without fouling this time. So Sam Loughlin with the free. Ballina are bunched inside in the middle, and Sam springs it down along this wing towards Charlie King, but Conor Dwyer does well. Conor Dwyer's been very solid starting off, lays it off there to Ronan Connolly off his left side. Not the greatest of strikes, and Carl O'Donnell gets back, gets his hand on it, under pressure from Davy Clark. And Carl O'Donnell does well, lays out a low one. Owen Murphy gets a touch on it, breaks behind to Ronan Connolly, who tries to spread it out wide to Daniel Maloney, who's doing great moving. Daniel has it, he's under pressure from Kelly off his right hand side, or if his left hand side, it's lobbing in dangerously. James Power is underneath it and does well to catch it. Out he comes, out towards, and rolls one out towards Sam, does very well. Under pressure, Sam lays it inside towards Josh, he's on the 45, just drops it but steps inside Daniel Maloney, and now lays it off to Carl O'Donnell on his own 65, spreads it across to this side, but there doesn't seem to be anyone there other than Colin Lawrenson. He's under pressure, the ball holds up and Daniel Tighe does well. Colin Lawrenson with a boot flicks it out to Ushing Dewan, who puts it down along the stand side. Cashel have a 2-on-1 here, breaks in behind Ross Whelan, but Sam saunters across, wins it off his left side, looks up, puts it down, and Davy Grace and Daniel Tighe will get underneath this. Ball breaks to Ronan Connolly, and there's a loose chop by Davy. Ronan Connolly was looking about a quick one, but instead he changed his mind and lets Conor Dwyer get ready. Conor lifts and strikes early, puts it out wide for Davy McGrath. Davy McGrath under pressure from Davy Coughlin, and Davy McGrath gets around him, he's making tracks, lays it inside to Jack McGrath. Jack McGrath is put under pressure, pops it off to Ross Whelan. James Power comes out, but Ross Whelan does a very simple finish, keeps his head up and pops it in for a vital goal for Cashel. It's now 1-7 to 6 points, 25 minutes gone. James Power with the quick puck out, tries to put it over James O'Sullivan. James gets his hand on it on his right side, puts it in, lower trajectory. James Power gets a hurley on it, and the ball is on the back of the wire by David McGrath. So two rapid fire goals from Cashel. So James Power will take his time on this one. Cian Donnelly is calling for it on that side, but James comes down this side and Davy Grace is underneath with Ushing Dewan. Davy brings it down, Jack Collins can't get to it, Carl Quinn has it, strides forward under pressure from Davy Grace. He's about 40-50 yards out, flicks the ball in, and a bit of a silly late challenge from Matt there, and it'll be a handy free for Jack McGrath, probably where the ball landed.
forward now.
Quick free take in here. Danny Maloney's on the 21 on his left hand side. Great block from Josh Egan. Josh is brave as ever. Comes out with the ball, gets the head up off his left side, strikes it low towards Jack Collins. Jack does well, brings it down for himself under pressure from Ronan Connolly. And a small little tug on the jersey, which Ballina will gladly take to stop the rot. That could have been 3 goal chances in a matter of minutes for Cashel, only for Josh Egan, who's took a hefty blow with the ball, but Josh is a brave buckle. I don't think that'll keep him down for very long. So 27.5 minutes gone. It's Cashel 2-7, 2 goals since the water break, or in the last 3 or 4 minutes. Ballina 6 points. They've only scored 1 point since the water break. They have a bit of a breather here, and they have a long range free from Matt. So Josh is up and ready to go again. Matt on his own 65, not a huge distance. It's a lower ball, but it's gone straight into the net. So from the middle of nowhere, a miss hit from Matt, and the ball seemed to move in the air. It looked like it was being waved over the bar, and it dropped underneath. Andrew Owen restarts with a great puck out to Conor Dwyer, steps inside, and Conor puts it down towards Keane Cummins. Keane runs underneath it, Ross gets in behind him, but Josh Egan back across. That ball did no harm to him whatsoever, and Josh is ready to go again. Linda Everard is getting the book out here for one of the Cashel lads. There has been a bit of chat from both sides. So fairly clear directions on where to go, and he is observing it, so fair play. So Sam will restart with a free, tries to switch it across to the far side, but Ronan Connolly looks like he'll get there, but goes with the hand, misses it. Davy Gray steps inside Colin Lawrenson. Davy is making tracks towards the 21 off the hurley. They're all looking up, and it's just gone wide though, unfortunately. Davy seems to have taken a knock after the ball, but the ref will wave play on. Ballina aren't looking for anything, and he goes short, but it goes over Owen Murphy, and it's a free into Ballina, or a line ball into Ballina, about 35 yards out, and Matt Power will come across to take this. So Matt will get ready to take it. Distance will probably be no issue to Matt, but he's also very good to pick out a runner. Pops it in, but it's going to be straight into Conor Dwyer. Inside in his own square, and he lands a huge one down past the far 45. Ross Whelan gets up, but Keane Cummins does well to get a hurley on it. Cathal O'Donnell gets back, gets a hurley in. Cathal O'Donnell down over it again, coming out towards the stand side, takes 1 or 2 steps, gets away with it, takes a shoulder into the chest, and wins a free. He was lucky to get away with it with the steps possibly. So Matt Power will come back to take this. Probably about 80-85 yards out. Matt lifts. It's a good strike. It's tail and wide up, and no danger to the Cashel goal in that one. So there's 30 minutes gone here. Well, the clock has stopped at 30, so it's at the ref's discretion here. There was about 2 minutes of a break for the water. So puck out down. Cathal O'Donnell does well to get underneath it. Jack Collins, but it's Davy Clark wins it, spins and lobs a high ball in on top of. So Mark Lyons seems to have been switched back on top of Ross McGrath. Ross Whelan gets a hurley on it. Jack McGrath has it, swivels, pops a ball in, but James Power wins it, delivers it low out towards Keane Donnelly. Pádraig Brosnan gets a hurley up and gets a body in. Matt Power gets a flick to keep the ball going forward, and the ball break to Jack Collins, who does well to pick it up, lays it back to Cathal O'Donnell, who does well to get a strike off and sends it into Charlie King. Charlie is out with the ball. He's out about his own 45. He takes on Fabian Ryan, and he makes track towards goals. Charlie then is blocked off by Conor Dwyer and lobs the ball in, which Oisín Dewan does well to bat it out as far as Fabian Ryan, who clears it out towards James O'Sullivan, who's under pressure from Shane Kelly, and it's a Ballina ball in. Shane Kelly seemed to get the hurley in, but possibly came off possibly came off James Sullivan's leg before it went out over the line. There's no complaints anyway. So Matt just outside the 45 gets ready to take it. He has a couple of runners, so he tries to switch it across in on top of Darragh King. Darragh King is beaten to it, but the ball breaks to Daniel Tighe. Daniel Tighe tries to step back inside, wins a free, goes low. He had the advantage, so it was a shot to nothing, and it'll be a free into Matt on the 21. So this could be one of the last plays of the first half, I'd imagine. You'd never know, Matt could fancy it. He's taken 1 or 2 steps back from it. There's only 4 on the line, but Matt has gone for the point. So that brings it back to a goal in at 2-7 to 1-7. Like I said, time is up. It's at the ref's discretion here for the first half. Andy goes down towards the stand side, but it's the ref blows it up for half time. So it's 2-7 to Cashel, 1-7 to Ballina. Cashel started the strongest in the first half. They were 4 points to no scorer up. Ballina brought it back to 6-5, I think it was, at the first water break, and then Cashel drove on to a 2-7 to 5 point lead, and Ballina came back with a lucky goal from a long range free to bring it back to 2-7 to 1-7.
Come on, Jack, let go by.
Hazy to see. Okay, so it's not no.
But it should clear up every now and then. It's just literally when you go from the phone up to Facebook. It's the Facebook connection, it's not nice. But when I upload that one, it should go up in front of everyone.
Okay, perfect. Oh, that's perfect.
If the stream is what's going to be here, the actual video should be fine.
Perfect, thank you.
Sort of reckon that he has it. I started playing sport. Wasn't so good. What was your first game? Second, yeah.
Both teams are ready to go again here. We just need Enda Everard to come back from his cup of tea. Sean Everard. I'm sure there's an Enda Everard having tea somewhere. Quick turnaround by both teams, to be fair. A 2-7 to 1-7 in favour of Cashel. Ballina will have the advantage of a slight wind in this half. Well, probably a bit more than a slight wind, but Sean Everard is back out with his team of umpires. Linesmen are back out as well and ready to go again.
Come on, lads, come on.
So 2-7 to 1-7, 30 minutes of hurling. So if it does happen to end in a draw, it'll have to be ended on the day, and we'll have to listen to Sean Everard calling the second half without a whistle because he has to go back in and get his whistle, like a hurler forgetting his hurley. He's ready to go again. Sean Everard makes his way towards halfway. Doesn't seem to be any changes on either side. And the ball is in. Cathal Quinn gets across, wins the first one, lays it low in as far as Ross Whelan. Ross gets out in front. Ball break to Davy Clark. David Coughlin gets a hurley in, flicks it, misses the rise. The ball is in around there still. Ross Whelan over it. Daniel Maloney flicks it back out to himself. Under pressure from Sam. And off his left side, the ball is going to drift wide. So good pressure from Sam Loughran there on top of Daniel Maloney, who was being forced away from goal and had a tough shot. So James Power getting ready to take the puck out. Ballina have overloaded this side. The ball goes down on top of Cian Donnelly. Cian does well to win it. He has Jack Collins or Darragh King off his shoulder. Darragh wins it, pops it back into Cathal O'Donnell. Cathal springs it back out to Shane Kelly. Shane Kelly off his right hand side with a great strike and straight over the bar, and a great start from Ballina. Lovely little interplay there, a couple of short passes to get out the scoring space. And Shane Kelly does well to stride forward and win it. Andy Irwin now with the puck out. It's going to make to the far 65. Davy Clark under pressure by Davy Coughlin, who gets a hurley on it, breaks to Cathal O'Donnell, who does well to pick it up. He's under pressure from Davy Clark, who didn't give up on it, but unlucky for Davy Clark, it breaks to Davy Coughlin. Conor Dwyer does well to get a hurley on it. Takes a shoulder from Jack Collins. Ball is stuck around the 45. Conor Dwyer flicks it out one, but there's a flick back in by Ballina. But Oisín Dewan is there over it. He's strong. He has it in his right hand. Goes forward a few yards, back a few yards. The ball drops. Matt Power picks it up on the 45 and pops it into Cian Donnelly. Cian is hooked well by Pádraig Brosnan. It's pushed under pressure again by Cian Donnelly. Gets a hurley in and Ronan Connolly comes back to win it under pressure from Matt and Cian. He flicks it out towards, it's intercepted by Jack Collins, who lashes it across the goals. And Charlie King just wasn't in position for that. Fabian Ryan is under pressure from Charlie, who seemed to do, despite Ballina's protest, he did run into the back of him by the looks of it. And Colin Lawrenson gets ready to take it. Lands on the far 65. Daniel Maloney gets up, knocks it down as far as James Sullivan, who rolls it into Cathal Quinn, who spreads it down the line towards Davy Clark. Does well to get a second touch, pops it off. Shane Kelly does well to track back. Cathal Quinn or Davy Clark will retrieve it off his right side, snaps the ball into Cathal Quinn, who's well hooked by Josh Egan. Josh will sprint back and gets it, turns strong and wins a handy enough free again, it has to be said. Don't think Josh was even expecting to get a free on that occasion, but he'd gladly take it, and Sam Loughran will step back to take it. He'll step back, but he'll also step forward 2 or 3 yards to make a few yards in it. Throws up a leaf of grass to see what way the wind's going, steps forward and drills it down low towards Davy Grace. Davy gets out well ahead of Conor O'Gryer, gets a good touch. Conor lets him turn back out and he pops it off to Cian Donnelly. Cian under pressure from Pádraig Brosnan. Ball is sprayed into Daniel Tighe, breaks inside. Andy Irwin gets out, makes a good save. Ball is in Matt Power's hand and Matt just tops the ball. He was definitely had goal on the mind there. Just tops the ball and it flies over the bar, but Ballina will take a score out of that. It's 1-9 to 2-7, 3 minutes gone in the second half. Andy Irwin spreads the ball out here to Fabian Ryan, who's under pressure from Charlie King. Ball lands on top of Shane Kelly and James O'Sullivan. Shane Kelly brings it to Cathal O'Donnell, who's just a bit slow. James Kelly gets back to win it and wins a free as well. Turns around to show he's pumped up and ready to go for this half. And Conor Dwyer will stride forward to take that. So Cathal O'Donnell did well to win the break. Unfortunately just stood up for a big delivery and got caught. Conor Dwyer in his own 65 will take this. And I'd want to get a little bit more organised inside. David McGrath is free all on his own. Conor lifts, strikes, and I'd say it'll hang in. And that's Cashel's first score of the second half. Cashel 2-8, Ballina 1-9. James Power gets ready with the puck out. Looking for a few options. He's going to go down the far side. And it's going to be down on top of Oisín Dewan and Daniel Tighe. Oisín gets a hurley on it, as does Ronan Connolly, but Cathal O'Donnell does well to win it. Strides in field and spreads the ball out towards Charlie King, who's under pressure from Fabian Ryan, who does well to get a hurley on it. And his counterpart, Owen Murphy, gets back. And Jack Collins in the process of a legitimate block. The ball breaks out to Charlie King. Charlie puts it over the bar. Jack Collins is down injured, completely accidental. He got the flick in top of Owen Murphy, who was trying to clear the ball, and unfortunately the hurley, the natural follow through from Owen Murphy caught Jack Collins. But there was definitely, didn't seem like any intent whatsoever from the Cashel man there to do any harm whatsoever. Jack is in a bit of bother, so we'll 1-19 in the second half, or is it over? Okay, so Thurles have gone through on the far side. Thurles Stars have beaten St Mary's of Clonmel 5-17 to 1-19. Definitely a bit of 5 minutes into the second half. And Jack is sitting up, which is good, and the boys are tending to him there. And now recycled that well through Matt Power, who laid it out to Charlie King, and Charlie did well from a tight angle. Jack Collins is up. He's up and ready to go again. So Jack looks like he'll stay inside. So he had moved in anyway, but you have Jack Collins and Matt Power inside with Charlie King as well. Carl O'Donnell is on the wing with Davy Gray centre. Keane Donnelly on the far wing. Andy Irwin sprays the puck out to the far side. Davy Clark and Davy Coughlin go up forward. It's been a good battle there. Ball breaks through the two of them. Sam Loughran wins it. He's under pressure from Daniel Maloney, but Sam does well. He'll be hard stopped. He does well to lay it off to Cahill. Cahill picks up a ball, sprays it down towards the rejuvenated Jack Collins. Tries to get a hurley on it. Owen Murphy goes well to go backtrack and win it. Under pressure from Jack again, who gets another block in on him and wins the break again. But flicks it out towards Daniel Tighe. Daniel has it, takes a heavy hit from Owen Connolly or Owen Murphy, and another free in. The free count is going to be high on both sides here. Hard to I'd say both teams will question a couple of frees, most definitely. But Matt has this free to bring Ballina back level. And he's hit the post and it's gone inside, so Matt was very confident taking that one. He seemed to Jabba put it down and slash it over the bar, and he got away with it. Andy goes short here. Good puck out to Carl Quinn on his 45, but he lets it slip through his hand. There's 4 Ballina lads around him, but he does well to kick it out to Conor Dwyer. Conor steps inside, Keane Donnelly. And there was definitely a clip on the elbow by Ballina, but the ref has said that he had taken a few steps beforehand. So the ball has now been brought forward to the 45. So this will be Ballina looking for a quick free again, but number 6 blocks the ball and he'll go in the book for this. Ballina asking to move it in. He'll be moving it in all day. He's already brought it up 13, so he probably can't bring it again. So Matt just inside the 45. I reckon this will be the first time Ballina will go ahead if it goes over. And Ballina, I think, take the lead for the first time, 112 to 2-8. 8 minutes and 40 seconds gone in the second half. Obviously there was a minute or two where Jack Collins had a bit of treatment. Andrew Owen puts it down on top of Ross Whelan. But Keane Donnelly is back for it. Pádraig Brosnan tries to bring it forward. Ronan Connolly gets back after it, and it's Keane Cummins who'd followed his man out, wins it, lays it off to Carl O'Donnell. And there seems to be a bit of a late done from number 11. Daniel Maloney seemed to hit Keane Cummins after that. There's things getting a bit silly here between both lads, between both sets of management. They'd better off calm down. Oh, well, maybe not management, but so Keane Cummins will be back up. He'll be all right. Daniel Maloney went in the book for that, and the ball is a free into Ballina, I'm sure, from where the ball landed. So Matt now will go for his 3rd free in a row. So about 35 yards out, 20 yards in from the sideline, Matt lifts and it's gone wide at this side. So Ballina still lead by a point, but definitely a missed chance here. Andy Irwin with the puck out. And he's going long down the far side. Davy Clark gets after it. Davy Coughlin tries to chase him down, but Davy Clark wins it. Josh Egan is coming out. Cahill Quinn wins the ball. He's on the 21, tries to spray it in across Davy. James Power gets out to get a flick on it. Darragh King adds to the clearance, and Ballina are all back at sea here. Ball breaks. Pádraig Brosnan gets a touch off his left side, drills it hard. And unfortunately for Pádraig, it's gone wide, but he's put under great pressure by Keane Donnelly and Cahill O'Donnell, who tried to make up huge distance there. James Power did well to get out on top. James Power puts the ball down towards Daniel Tighe under pressure from Davy Clark, who's good under puck outs, but Davy Grace gets out to try win it. Ball pops up in the air, and it'll be Conor Dwyer who'll stride forward with it and flicks it off towards Daniel Maloney. Daniel Maloney does well to get into his hand and takes on Sam. Sam is chasing him back, and a little bit of a tangle of legs, and definitely a free in. And again, a bit of needle from Ballina after the ball, and it'll be a free in, moved in 10 yards, and it should be no problem whatsoever for Jack McGrath. Jack lifts, doesn't come up the cleanest, but he does well to rescue the situation and put it over the bar to bring it back level. 2-9 Cashel, 1-12 Ballina, 11, almost 12 minutes gone in the second half. So James Power just lets it settle down a bit. Ballina have drifted all up the field. They're funny about. So James Power is going long down the middle on top of Cian Donnelly and Pádraig Brosnan. Cian gets his hand in it, but Ronan Connolly gets back to win it and pops it off to Oisín Dewan. Oisín off his right hand side puts a high ball down on top of Josh Egan, and Josh does well. He's got out in front of his man, and the ref says there was a bit of a tug back there. Whether there was or there wasn't, the free is given. So Sam will have the ball just on his own 45. Probably bang in the middle of the field. Probably within scoring range, but we'll see what they'll try to do. Sam is going for it, gives it plenty. Andrew Irwin is looking straight up. And it's a great point from Sam. That brings it 113 to 2-9 as we just approach 13 minutes gone. Andrew Irwin with the puck out, looking for a bit of movement. And he's coming down the stand side by the looks of it. Ball has gone high in the air. It's going to be Cian Donnelly's back after it. Cian switches hand as well to get his hand on it. Cian Cummins is kicking the ball forward. Anyway, will do. Pádraig Brosnan is kicking it back the way, but Davy Grace wins it. And Conor Dwyer with a hand straight on the back. And another free into Ballina. Davy Grace did well to pick it up and took on Conor Dwyer, who's probably a little unfortunate, but the hand was on the back and directly in the eye line of referee Sean Everard. So Matt, after missing the last one, he's about 50 yards out here, similar angle. Matt with a better strike this time, and that puts Ballina 2 points up. Cashel 2-9, Ballina 1-14. Andrew Irwin gets ready to puck out the ball again. And he's going to go down the far side towards Davy Clark, who's been good under a high ball. He gets a good run in it, gets a good hand, wins it, turns, he's gone inside the 65. He's surrounded by 3 Ballina lads, tries to lay it back, gets a hurley on it and just overcooks it. Davy Grace does well to win it. Doesn't come up for Davy, he's missed it a few times, and Conor Dwyer will retrieve the situation, or will he? Or will the ball now is lost, is stuck here for about 10 seconds where there's been a series of missed lifts. And Davy Grace is accused of pushing it back. Conor Dwyer will take it quick, snaps a low ball in towards Jack McGrath. Ross McGrath will get a it's a hand on the back from Josh Egan, and Jack McGrath wins that. So Cashel will be glad to get the score here if Jack McGrath can deliver. And this will make it a 1 point game, and I imagine we'll break for the water break. And they're getting a bit excited here behind. Jack McGrath lifts and strikes straight over the bar, and there's 2 points in it. Or 1 point in it, sorry. Cashel 2-10, Ballina 1-14. The ref will play another play before the water break. James Power goes long towards Cian Donnelly under pressure from Pádraig Brosnan, but Cian wins it. Daniel Tighe is all on his own, he's pulled way away. Daniel just drops it first off, makes tracks for his goal, strikes it off his left hand side and pops it over the bar. Daniel scored 2 quick fire points in the second half in the North final as well to help turn the tide towards Ballina, and he's chipped in with another one here. So 15 minutes and 50 seconds gone. It's Cashel 2-10, Ballina 1-15. So there's something after happening off the ball up here. Sam Loughran is down. Jack McGrath, the chief free taker and scorer for Cashel, has been called in by the ref. The ref doesn't seem to have gone and spoken to anyone. Oh, it's Mark Lyons that's actually down, not Sam. So 2 yellow cards. Josh Egan got a yellow card. And Sean Everett now seems to be going in towards the 2 umpires. He's his action taken, so I don't know why he's gone in to have a chat now. So I think I call it, there was 15 minutes and roughly 50 seconds gone when we broke for the water break, and there's a minute gone now at this stage. And it's restarting with a Cashel puck out. So Ballina have outscored Cashel 7 points to 3 in the second half, 8 points to 3 in the second half. So to go from 3 points down to 2 points up. But we know these water breaks can be detrimental to momentum, so we'll have to wait and see what way it goes. So it's going to restart with a Cashel puck out. Getting a bit more vocal here between the two sets of parents, so to speak. There's probably roughly 2 minutes of 3 minutes almost of a stoppage there for water. And Sean Everett is ready to go again.
Rosie, don't be coming back, look for the ball!
So Andrew Irwin getting ready to puck it out. He goes long towards the open side. Ball breaks. Daniel Tighe will get back, wins it, and off he goes. Flicks a pass, Oisín Dewan, and takes a shoulder into the chest. To be fair to Daniel, didn't make any meal of it whatsoever. Just got on with it. And Sean Everard will probably put Oisín Dewan into the book here. Oisín was left with little choice but to stop him. Matt will have a free right on the sideline on the 65 as he gets ready to go. Cashel are after getting a point added to the score, so there's a bit of a change there. Matt with the free, it's gone wide. Is the scoreboard right? It was wrong all along, was it? Okay, so it's actually 2-11 to 1-10. So there's only a point in it. Andrew Owen goes long. It's going to drop on top of Sam Loughran and Daniel Malone, but it's Davy Clark that's winning it. He's under pressure from Davy Coughlin, and he springs it down the line towards David McGrath. But it goes out over the line and a line ball to Ballina. Sam Loughran will come across and centre back to take it. Sam with the line ball goes long, and they'll have Darragh King and Ronan Connolly underneath it. Ronan wins it, leaves the ball after him. Daniel Tighe does well, flicks it on towards Cian Donnelly. Cian takes it in the hand under pressure from Conor O'Dwyer off his left hand side. The umpires are looking up and they're happy with it. And Ballina move into a 2-point lead, 116 to 2-11. Andrew Irwin gets ready with the puck out again. He puts it straight down on top of Davy Clark. Shane Kelly will get to this one though, and James Sullivan snaps it and drills it low towards David McGrath, who's under pressure from Mark Lyons. Davy does well, turns inside, turns back out, gets a strike off his right hand side. It's going high and it's over the bar. Great score from David McGrath. Well needed by Cashel, but a super score from Davy as James Power gets ready to puck out the ball. James It's coming down towards Davy Grace and Keane Donnelly. Ball breaks in behind. Fabian Ryan does well to win it. He's under pressure but lays it out well to Daniel Maloney. Daniel off his left hand side sprays it out to the far side for Davy McGrath. Under pressure, he brings it back in for Jack McGrath. Under pressure also from Josh. And it looks like it'll be a bit of a throw in. Cashel claiming there was a push in the back. Ballina claiming he was lying over the ball. Ref claiming nothing to see here. And Davy Clark whips on the ball, breaks it into James Power, who gets a hurley on it. Misses the first rise but brings it out along off his left hand side. And the ball go out over the line. About 45 yards out. Cashel starting to put a bit of pressure on here to try bring the game back level, and they're about to make a substitution here. Looks like Joe Davis is going to be coming in while Daniel Maloney gets ready to take the line ball. So Daniel off his left hand side. Cathal Quinn is free out here, but Daniel whips it in on top of Sam. Mark Lyons breaks it down. Cathal Quinn gets to it. Cathal Quinn with a low strike. James Power just doesn't get down to it. And it's 3-12 to 116 in favour of Cashel. So that puts Cashel into 3-12-21, Ballina 19. So James Power puts it down towards Davy Grace and Keane Donnelly. It breaks inside. Colm Lawrence will do well to win this, but Matt Power gets a flick on it, or Keane Donnelly does, but the ball is still going forward. Davy Grace, Matt Power, both of them try to win it, but it's Daniel Maloney that brings it out for Cashel, and a big clearance off his left hand side. Mark Lyons out with David McGrath. David McGrath wins it again. He's really on forward when he pops it off to Cathal Quinn. Cathal Quinn coming towards goal. Ball seems to be thrown out to Joe Davis, and it's another goal. Ballina under serious pressure now. 4 goals for Cashel. James Power tries to swing it out towards Daniel Tighe. Daniel Tighe does well to get his hand on it. Breaks to Cathal O'Donnell, who manages to win a free. Ballina need to settle down and things are getting a bit silly here. Lads need to calm down a bit.
Dan, keep now, let's go. Let's keep it going.
So Ballina are now 5 points down. The clock is saying there's 5.5 minutes left. We've had probably 2 minutes, 3 minutes maybe for water, and there's another minute or so gone here for Ronan Connolly, who's now back on his feet. So an important free for Matt to stop the rot for Ballina. Matt strikes, everyone's looking up. So it's a good score. Ballina needed that one. 117 to 412. Andrew Irwin getting ready to take the puck out. Andrew's going long and high towards Davy Clark, who's under pressure from David Coughlin. Davy Clark gets his hand on it, breaks to Shane Kelly, who strides forward with it, who pops it back out to Daniel Tighe. Daniel tries to spray the ball in on top of Colm Lawrence and Davy Grace. Colm Lawrence is up strong, ball breaks out to Matt Power, who tries to flick it on ahead of himself. Owen Murphy, I'd say, will win the race here and lays it back to Daniel Maloney, who goes for a big booming clearance. The ball is going to break in over David Coughlin and Davy Clark. David Coughlin gets a hurley on it to stop it. Ball will break to Jack McGrath and looked like a free. Sam Loughlin comes out with it, takes the shoulder off James Sullivan and hand passes the ball all along when it broke on the ground. So, not sure. The ref isn't great at giving signals, so we don't really know what it is. I assume it'll be some sort of a throw in. The Cashel man, number 12, Davy Clark, seemed to collide with one of the Ballina lads.
Let's keep it going.
So there's another stoppage here. From a Ballina perspective, let's hope he adds all this on. Probably had, like I said, maybe 2 or 3 minutes of a water break. Ronan Connolly was down for a few minutes. Jack Collins was down for a few minutes. And now we have Davy Clark down for a few minutes, so must be half an hour left. So we wait for Sean Everett to tell us how we're going to restart this. Ball is thrown in. Matt Power and Oisín Dewan are fighting for it. Danny Maloney is in around it. Daniel Tighe for Ballina. Oisín Dewan seems like he might come out with it, but it's Danny Maloney who wins it. And the ref has said it's a free to Ballina. Now he's pointing towards Cashel, which would make more sense. He was definitely pointing down the field for a second. Danny Maloney lifts and strikes off his left down towards David McGrath, who's in acres of space. Davy has a look, takes a few steps. Mark Lyons gets in on top of him. Davy Clark adds to it, gets it back out towards Davy McGrath, who goes down on it. I don't think Dave McGrath was even looking for a free on that one. He seemed to go down over the ball to win it, and he's happy to take a free. So this to go 5 points back up. It's going to be David McGrath who's been excellent with the frees. Or Jack McGrath even. I couldn't even give him the commentator's curse on that one. So James Power goes long and quick. Keane Donnelly gets up for it, breaks to Sam who's moved out maybe towards midfield, pops it inside to Keane Donnelly. Keane takes a heavy hit, flicks it inside again towards Jack Collins. Jack wins it, steps back outside, sprays it across to Davy Grace. He's under pressure from Danny Maloney. Ball breaks to Darragh King. Andy Irwin gets down, but it's just into the side netting, and a goal chance missed there from Ballina. Ballina still 5 points down. There's a minute of normal time left, but you definitely expect a minimum of 4 or 5 minutes to be added on with the water breaks and a couple of injuries. So Andrew Irwin goes long over on top of Davy Clark again. Shane Kelly does well. Daniel Tighe gets back to win it. Daniel going forward probably has 8 or 10 steps taken there. And I think Cashel managed to lash that ball out onto the train tracks, which they'll be delighted with. James Power lands another ball down towards Daniel Maloney. And Daniel gets ready to go. The ref is sending him back a yard or two, which will probably make it a dangerous ball in if he goes for it. Daniel is a very good striker of it, judging on this match so far. This one probably doesn't have the legs, but it's going to tail wide. James Power goes up to catch it, knocks it out for a 65. So Conor Dwyer will step back to take this. This will put 6 points in it. The 30 minutes are up at this stage. Like I said, Ballina would surely hope for 5 minutes of injury time. Conor has put that just wide. James Power is out with a very quick puck out. Sam Lochner and Keane Donnelly. Keane does well to win it under pressure. There's a couple of runners off him. Darragh King has gone inside. Ronan Connolly does well to track. He gets a second touch on it and a bit of a loose pull on Keane Donnelly.
Hey, watch it now, watch it!
It's going to be a yellow card possibly for Ronan Connolly. Ballina won't really care about that. They'd rather the ref hurried on and let him take it. Conor Dwyer and Daniel Maloney, 2 big hurlers, are gone back in. Ronan Connolly gone in as well. Matt dips a low one in, a dangerous one, and Daniel Maloney did well to get a hurley across it. Ballina bringing in Breen Cleary. He's going to come in instead of Daniel Tighe. So Matt will take this. He'll probably drop it in again.
Boys, let's be strong now.
So Matt getting ready. So Breen Cleary comes on for Jack Collins. Matt lifts, drills in a lower trajectory. Ball is broken inside. Davy Grace is trying to get a hurley on it. Ronan Connolly is down over it. Sam Locker managed to win it. Takes his 2 steps. Sam will gladly take the free, as he was being well shepherded out. Sean Everett is having a chat here with Matt Power. I don't know what the... Huh? Oh yeah, so there should be only 5 on the line. Matt knows the rules. So Matt will have to go for it. He does that, goes low, and it's gone in. It's gone in to make it a 2-point game. We'll have to wait and see what the ref is going to say here in terms of time. King Cummins get booked in the first half, number 2. And King Cummins is getting talked to here by Sean Everard. It's a yellow card. He didn't get it in the first half. So we'll restart at 2 points in it, 4-13 to 2-17. Andrew Irwin with the puck out, not sure what's left in it. The ball is long and high on top of Shane Kelly and Davy Clark, but Davy Coughlin gets back after it, but Davy Clark snaps it off him brilliantly, tries to go forward, he's put under pressure by Matt, sprays the ball wide, and Cathal Quinn gets to it, just drops it on the first attempt, drops it on the second attempt, and King Cummins gives away a free for a loose pull. So this will make it a 3-point game.
Hey, Connor, we need to win the puck out.
Ballina might get one more play after this. If this goes over, Cashel aren't going to lose it. And this man isn't going to miss it. But Jack O'Keefe with Jack McGrath with another good score. James Power ready to puck it out. James looking for a few options. He goes long, down the middle. Daniel Maloney is in underneath it. Ball breaks in behind. Daniel Tighe does well to flick it on. Matt Power flicks it on, one again. And like has happened with every match, or with every play so far, the ref has found a free one way or the other. Tristan Goudier comes on for King Cummins. The game might be just gone from Ballina. I'd say the ref's time might be just up. Daniel Maloney goes long. It might be a bit too long. Ballina will be happy if it goes wide. It doesn't. He manages to get the max out of it. And now the ref has managed to say it's a 65. So Jack McGrath will come out to take this. Jack, who hasn't, I'm getting into the lingo here, Jack McGrath, who hasn't missed very many, he's been told not to take it. Daniel Maloney is coming out to take it. Ballina would be wise to give Daniel Maloney a ball. He has it now. This is the insurance point possibly. Daniel Maloney on his left hand side, about 5 yards in from the sideline. Lifts, good strike again. Ballina are looking up, and 4 points in it. And that seals it for Cashel. Cashel 4-15. Ballina 2-17. Cashel's ability to get goals saw him through. David McGrath was a constant threat inside. Daniel Maloney was very good at winning ball. Davy Clark very good as well. Whereas Ballina just couldn't manage to maintain the lead that they gathered at the start of the second half, and both sets of players should congratulate each other and move on from it. But well done to Cashel today, and well done to Ballina in a good year, winning their first minor A title in 20 years in North Tipperary. So hopefully they'll backbone the club for many years to come. Thanks, Mill.
So your water. Yeah.